The trouble started with my Aunt Linda's funeral. Which, as far as funerals go, was nice. Touching speeches, tasteful flowers, and a slideshow of photos that somehow managed to make Aunt Linda look like she spent her entire life either on a cruise ship or holding a margarita. But the nice part ended right after the pastor said amen. Because that's when my cousin Brenda leaned over and whispered, "So, are you moving into the house?" I blinked. "What house?" Brenda gave me this look, the kind that said she was either about to pity me or sell me something. "The house. Linda's house. She left it to you in the will." I laughed. Because, it was a joke. Aunt Linda was eccentric, the kind of woman who wore leopard print to church, but she wasn't crazy. Brenda didn't laugh back. She just sipped her coffee from one of those tiny styrofoam cups and said, "Guess you'll find out soon enough." 2 hours later, I was sitting in a mahogany-paneled lawyer's office that smelled like lemon polish and old money. The lawyer, a thin man with glasses that made him look permanently unimpressed, shuffled some papers and said, "Yes, as per the will, the property located at 182 Maple Lane will be transferred to you, effective immediately. Congratulations." I sat there, staring. "I don't want a house." He raised an eyebrow. "It's already yours." "I live in a one-bedroom apartment," I explained. "It's rent-controlled. My neighbors bring me casseroles. My shower has perfect water pressure. Why would I move?" The lawyer shrugged, like he'd heard every excuse in the book. "It's a valuable asset. You could always sell." "Right," I said, feeling slightly less cornered. "Maybe I'll do that." The first red flag should have been Brenda texting me that night. Brenda hey, congrats on the house. Me thanks, still not sure what I'm doing with it. Brenda oh, totally. But if you do decide to sell, let me know first. I might have a buyer winking face. The second red flag came the next morning, when my coworker Alan, a man I'd only ever spoken to about printer jams, stopped by my desk. "Hey," he said casually, "heard about your new place." I froze mid-email. "How?" "Oh, Brenda posted in the family Facebook group," he said, like that explained everything. "Listen, if you're not planning on living there, my brother-in-law's in real estate. Could make you a good offer. Cash." I laughed nervously. "Yeah, I'll think about it." But by lunchtime, 3 more people had brought it up. And by dinner, 7. It was like the whole town had been waiting for Aunt Linda to keel over just so they could pounce on her property. By Friday, I couldn't take it anymore. I drove out to 182 Maple Lane. Now, here's the thing, I remembered Aunt Linda's house as being fine. A bit outdated. Shag carpeting. A lingering scent of whatever perfume she wore that smelled like old carnations and nail polish remover. But when I pulled up, I realized I'd misremembered. It wasn't fine. It was weird. The house sat at the very end of a narrow street, backed up against a patch of woods that looked like the set of every true crime documentary. It was painted a shade of beige so aggressively dull that it actually made me angry. And yet, as I got out of the car, I had the distinct feeling I was being watched. Inside was worse. The living room was a museum of Aunt Linda's strange taste. A taxidermy squirrel wearing a pearl necklace. A coffee table shaped like a coffin. A portrait of Elvis Presley, but, and I'm not exaggerating, with Aunt Linda's face. I was halfway through deciding whether this was hilarious or horrifying when I heard it. A loud thump from upstairs. I froze. "Hello?" No answer. I told myself it was just the house settling, or maybe a raccoon. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate. I grabbed the nearest object, a ceramic cat statue, and started creeping toward the stairs. Halfway up, a figure appeared at the top. I screamed. They screamed. It was my cousin Brenda. "Oh my God, you scared me," she said, clutching her chest. "I scared you," I said. "What are you doing here?" She had the audacity to look offended. "I was just checking the place out. Making sure it's, in good condition." I glanced at the massive tote bag slung over her shoulder. "Did you check out anything into that bag?" Her eyes darted away. "That's not the point. Look, if you don't want to live here, I can make you an offer. Or connect you to someone who will. It's just safer for everyone." "Safer?" I repeated. "What does that mean?" Brenda hesitated. "Nothing. Just think about it." And then she brushed past me and left. That night, I locked every door and window before leaving. The next day, Alan from work just happened to be in the neighborhood and asked if he could take a peek inside. I said no. The day after that, a man I'd never seen before knocked on my apartment door and offered me $50,000 in cash, without seeing the house. Something was wrong. And it wasn't just the beige paint. By Monday, my curiosity had turned into obsession. I started Googling 182 Maple Lane history. The first thing I found was a blurry newspaper clipping from 1998. Local woman claims house full of secrets. The article was short, just a few quotes from some woman named Doris who said she used to clean for the previous owners. Weird things happened in that place, she'd said. Rooms not where they should be. Things disappearing. Noises at night. I quit after 3 weeks. Cute. Creepy folklore. But then I found something stranger, real estate listings. The house had been sold 9 times in the last 20 years. Every single owner kept it for less than a year. I decided to go back. This time, I brought my best friend, Tasha, mostly because she loves mystery and has no sense of self-preservation. We got there in the afternoon, sunlight streaming through the ugly beige curtains. So this is it, she said, looking around. It smells like pickles. That's new, I said. Tasha walked straight to the kitchen and opened the fridge. Oh my god. There's nothing in here but pickles. Like, 30 jars. Don't eat them, I warned. She shrugged. Why not? They're just pickles. Because I don't trust this house, I said. And neither should you. We started poking around. In the upstairs bathroom, the mirror had a faint crack, but it was perfectly straight, like someone had tried to cut the glass. In the hall closet, we found a locked door about 3 feet off the ground. And in the basement, well, we didn't even get that far, because as soon as we opened the basement door, the smell hit us. Not pickles. Something metallic. Tasha wrinkled her nose. That's not great. From somewhere deep below, there was a sound, a faint click. Okay, no, Tasha said, stepping back. We are not going down there. I agreed. For once, we were on the same page. We shut the door and decided to leave. But as we walked back through the living room, I noticed something. The portrait of Elvis with Aunt Linda's face was smiling. I swear to God it hadn't been smiling before. We left. Fast. But as we pulled out of the driveway, I saw a car idling at the end of the street. And in the driver's seat was Brenda. She waved. And smiled. Like she knew something I didn't. By Tuesday morning, my phone was blowing up. Not from friends asking how I was, but from people I barely knew offering to help with the house situation. Asterisk random number asterisk K, I heard you inherited 182 Maple Lane. I can take that off your hands. Asterisk me asterisk who is this? Asterisk random number asterisk a friend of a friend. Yeah. Creepy. I'd had enough. If everyone wanted this house so badly, I was going to find out why. Step 1, break into the tiny locked door in the upstairs closet. Step 2, figure out what the hell was in the basement. Tasha agreed to come back, but only after making me promise there would be snacks. So Wednesday afternoon, we were back inside Aunt Linda's beige nightmare, armed with a crowbar, a flashlight, and a bag of pretzel bites. First stop, the closet. The door was maybe 3 feet wide, with a cheap padlock on it. I wasn't expecting much. So when the lock popped open way too easily, seriously, it might as well have been closed with a twist tie, my stomach did a weird nervous flip. Inside, there was a narrow crawl space, maybe 4 feet deep, lined with shelves. And on those shelves, jars. Not pickles this time. Buttons. Coins. Pieces of paper. Tasha picked one up. This just says, Tuesday, 3:42 a.m. Another jar had a single house key inside. Another was filled with marbles, each painted with tiny black X's. What is this? I whispered. Tasha shrugged. Creepy grandma hobby? But I knew Aunt Linda. She collected leopard print scarves, not time-stamped scraps of paper. We left the jars alone for now and headed to the basement door. The smell was worse than last time, sharp, metallic, almost like a dentist's office mixed with rust. Tasha took a deep breath. Okay. We're doing this fast. In and out. No horror movie mistakes. I flipped the light switch. Nothing. Of course. So down we went, one creaky wooden step at a time, my flashlight cutting through the dark. The basement was not what I expected. No piles of junk. No laundry machines. Just a wide, empty space with a concrete floor, and in the middle, a single wooden chair. Tasha whispered, "Nope. I'm out." But I couldn't move. Because there was something else. A camera mounted in the far corner, aimed directly at the chair. And under the chair, a drain. This is bad, Tasha said. This is so bad. This is the part where the audience yells at us to leave. I took a few shaky steps forward. The camera's little red light was off, but it was definitely plugged into something, a thick black cable that ran up the wall and disappeared into the ceiling. Why would Aunt Linda have this? I asked. Tasha muttered, interrogations? Ghost YouTube channel? Some kind of weird, performance art. That's when I noticed the far wall. Or rather, the door in it. It was heavy steel, with a massive deadbolt. And it was locked. We stood there for a long moment. Then, from behind the steel door, came a sound. Soft. slow. Like, breathing. We ran. Outside, gulping in fresh air, I said, okay. We're not coming back here without a plan. Tasha nodded, already unlocking her car. And possibly pepper spray. Or holy water. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing the chair. The drain. The jars in the closet. By 2 a.m., I was scrolling through old Facebook posts on Aunt Linda's profile, looking for clues. She hadn't posted much, just the occasional blurry photo of a sunset or her cat, Muffin. But then I hit something strange, a private album titled Guests. It had one photo in it. A blurry shot of the basement. The chair. And someone sitting in it. Their face was turned away. By morning, I had made up my mind. I needed answers. And I knew who might have them. Brenda. I caught her outside the grocery store, her cart already loaded with paper towels and suspicious amounts of canned soup. We need to talk, I said. She sighed. Look, if you're not going to sell me the house, at least. It's not about that, I interrupted. It's about what's in the basement. Her whole face froze. I stepped closer. You know, don't you? She looked around, like making sure no one was listening, then said quietly, I told you it's safer if you don't keep it. That's not an answer, I said. What's behind the steel door? Brenda shook her head. You don't want to know. Yes. I do. She hesitated, then leaned in. If you're smart, you'll walk away now. And if you're not, you'll be just like the rest of them. The rest of who? I asked. But she just pushed her cart away and didn't look back. That night, I got another text from a random number. Asterisk unknown asterisk last chance. Sell the house. Asterisk me asterisk who is this? Asterisk unknown asterisk someone who's trying to help you. I didn't reply. 2 days later, Tasha and I went back. This time, we brought bolt cutters. The steel door wasn't easy, but after some struggling, and a lot of swearing, the lock clanged to the floor. Inside was, not a room. It was a hallway. The walls were lined with shelves, like the crawl space upstairs, but these shelves held bigger jars. And inside those jars? Please tell me those are fake, Tasha whispered. They weren't. They were organs. Preserved in cloudy liquid. Some labeled. Some not. At the far end of the hallway was another door, this one made of wood. And on it, in messy red paint, were the words, "Do not open." Which, of course, meant we opened it. The room inside was small, maybe the size of a walk-in closet. And in the middle, sitting cross-legged on the floor, was a man. Alive. He looked up at us with wide eyes. You shouldn't be here. For a full 10 seconds, Tasha and I just stared. Because what do you even say when you find a random man sitting cross-legged behind 2 locked doors in your dead aunt's basement? He was maybe in his late 40s, with messy hair, a week-old beard, and a hoodie that looked like it had been through several emotional breakdowns. I said brilliantly, hi? You shouldn't be here, he repeated, his voice low but steady. Tasha took a step forward, brandishing the flashlight like a weapon. Okay, buddy, explain. Who are you? Why are you in here? And please don't say I live here, because this is my friend's house, and we just cut through 2 locks to get to you. The man looked between us, then sighed. Name's Daniel. And, technically, I'm a guest. A guest? I asked. He nodded toward the wall. Your aunt invited me. There were so many questions swirling in my brain that they almost jammed and came out as static. She's dead, I blurted. For 2 years. Daniel's eyes softened. I know. Then why are you still here? He hesitated. Because she told me to stay. Until it's safe. Tasha glanced at me, eyebrows raised in full WTF. Safe from what? I asked. Daniel leaned back against the wall, looking exhausted. From the people who want what's down here. I blinked. You mean, the organs? He shook his head slowly. Those are just leftovers. Tasha gagged. Okay, I said, rubbing my forehead, you're going to have to start from the beginning. And I mean the actual beginning. Because I've walked into too many creepy basements this week to put up with vague answers. Daniel looked at me for a long moment, then said, fine. But you won't like it. Here's the story, according to Daniel. Years ago, Aunt Linda wasn't just the sweet old lady who baked pies and sent passive-aggressive Christmas cards. She was a broker. Not for houses, but for information. And not just any information, memories. Apparently, there's a way to extract specific memories from people, store them, and even transfer them into someone else. And guess what? They look like those little scraps of paper in jars. Times, dates, moments. That's what the upstairs closet is, Daniel said. It's an archive. Harmless stuff. Laughs. Faces. Favorite smells. People would pay a lot for those. I was still trying to process that when he gestured toward the basement hallway. The big jars? Those aren't memories. Those are anchors. Physical parts of people tied to their most intense memories. They're dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Dangerous how? Tasha asked. He gave her a flat look. Ever want to forget something so badly you'd give anything to erase it? That's what this is for. But every time you take something away, you leave a hole. And sometimes, the hole eats the rest. So, you're telling me my aunt was basically an underground brain hacker? I asked. Daniel nodded. One of the best. But a few years back, she got into a bad deal. Someone wanted something she wouldn't sell. She knew they'd come for it eventually, so she locked it up, with me here to guard it. Why you? Tasha asked. Daniel smiled without humor. Because I'm the only one who can touch it without losing my mind. I crossed my arms. And what exactly is it? Daniel pointed at a wooden box in the corner of the room. It was small, maybe the size of a shoebox, with a heavy metal clasp. That, he said simply. I took a step toward it, but Daniel stood quickly. Don't. Not unless you want to forget your own name. Tasha muttered, cool. Love that for us. Before I could ask more, a loud bang echoed from upstairs. We froze. Another bang. Footsteps. Daniel's face went pale. They're here. Tasha and I instinctively moved to block the doorway, like we were about to take on intruders with, I don't know, our combined sarcasm and a flashlight. Daniel, meanwhile, grabbed the wooden box and shoved it into a hidden compartment in the wall. Listen, he said urgently, you can still walk away. If you pretend you never saw me, they might leave you alone. Who's they? I demanded. He just shook his head. Not enough time. The footsteps were coming down the stairs now. Heavy. Deliberate. Daniel grabbed my wrist and shoved a small jar into my hand, a marble-sized object swirling with faint silver light. Keep this safe, he whispered. If you lose it, you lose everything. Before I could ask what that meant, the basement door burst open. Two people stepped inside, both wearing dark jackets and gloves. One was Brenda. The other was a tall man I'd never seen before, with sharp cheekbones and eyes like a tax audit. Brenda spotted me first. You shouldn't be here. I groaned. Oh, for God's sake, does everyone have the same script? The man ignored me and looked at Daniel. Where is it? Daniel didn't answer. Brenda's eyes flicked to my hand. And just like that, the room went cold. Give it to me, she said quietly. I clutched the jar tighter. No. The man took a step toward me, but before he could reach, Daniel moved, fast. He grabbed the chair, yes, the creepy basement chair, and swung it at the man, knocking him back. Run! Daniel yelled. Tasha didn't need telling twice. She bolted for the hallway, dragging me with her. We tore through the basement, up the stairs, and out the front door, sprinting across the overgrown lawn like our lives depended on it. Because they probably did. We didn't stop until we reached Tasha's car. My heart was trying to beat its way out of my chest. I looked down at the jar in my hand. The silver swirl inside seemed brighter now, almost pulsing. What is this? I whispered. Tasha started the car. We're not finding out here. Buckle up. We drove until the house was a distant memory in the rearview mirror. Only then did I realize. I still had the jar. And somewhere back in that basement, Daniel was probably fighting for his life. Tasha glanced at me. So, what now? I stared at the swirling silver light. I didn't have an answer. All I knew was that whatever this was, Aunt Linda had died protecting it. And now, it was mine.